You are listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
Oh, wow. They got something to drop just as I hit the microphone on. That's their mind. They know I'm on the air already, and they're cursing me from the beginning. Salman Rushdie's Satanic Verses. It's actually your government. Your government is Satanic Verses. So a lot going on. I just wanted to see something here. Oh, well, murder by natural causes. I don't know if that's going to be the topic, but I love having that out there. But I can feel their frowns. Why is he doing this to us? Because that's what you do. So, we'll cover that real quick. They use psychological warfare to pressure medical care people not to care about a particular patient or frazzle their brain around a certain patient so the doctor or the medical staff can't figure out how to treat the patient. So not all doctors will sell out their patient, but they'll be encumbered while they're trying to figure out the patient. And then when the patient leaves, the doctor no longer gets harassed, so the doctor eventually figures it out. So again, we do have a lot of ground to cover. We should have been looking into the mutation thing as far as weakening the virus. And they might be. They may not be releasing happy-go-lucky information because they don't want people to get the belief that they can get away with it. That they can get risky and survive. Paper towel here. I got to itch my face. Wow, that's pretty crazy. Getting real itchy all of a sudden. Because there's supposedly some Ashkenazi Jews that might be immune from HIV. But you don't want to tell people that because, then they get risky. So again, we understand that fear does exist, and that's there for a reason. The idea that we didn't have to shut down the economy is out the window. People are so irritated at what their stock portfolio looks like. They're all upset. They're freaking out everywhere. They can't handle it because they live these charmed lives where everything works for them. And all of a sudden now they're having a little life like everyone else where something's messed up. So they just call it a lie and that it shouldn't have ever existed. It would have been crazy. What happened to New York would have been at least 1/10, or at the least would have been 1/10 of what it would have happened. There would have been no way to handle it. And then every other state would have experienced such things also. Now, Brian Kemp, again, might have additional information about his state. He might be being told that, look, people aren't really social distancing. They're all partying on that stimulus funds, that $1,200 they've been out partying for the last 2 weeks. They're not really distancing, and we're not seeing their communities have a surge or anything. So again, there are varieties of COVID-19 that are less lethal, less symptom producing. So we'll see in the near future. I mean, massage parlors, that's pretty bold, or massage therapy locations. But that's what's going to happen, you know. They're opening up the massage therapy locations in Georgia. So the massage parlors, the ones that they have risque names for, they're going to open, and you're going to have like prostitution and stuff. That's crazy. But yeah, you know, Brian Kemp, again, might know what he's doing. He might have some information that he's not going to tell you about how it's been progressing in a state or not progressing. I know I've seen some people without masks, very close contact with other people, and they, you know, appear to be sick. So again, they may have already had it and went through it and had a weaker form. I believe that's what we've been blessed with here in East Texas, and some people are taking it seriously and some people aren't. And I'm sure that's true everywhere. But I think at this point, so far, God has blessed us with a weaker COVID-19 than others had to deal with. And the presence of the Lord is here at times. I mean, the open presence, obviously, God is everywhere. So again, there's some things that we can do to try to alleviate the issues. There's news articles out there saying every drug that President Trump ever spoke about doesn't work. And, you know, I don't think we're there yet. I think there's a couple studies that may say that they didn't see it work. But then again, did they do everything that everybody else is doing? Or is there some point that they started the therapy not early enough or something like that? So there's a lot to those studies, and that's why they call them scientific studies. But we have to make sure that Big Pharma isn't blocking some of the medications that we could have out there right now in studies, because they want their particular drug to be the drug of choice for COVID-19, because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. An extensive amount of money. So we got to make sure they're not playing games with that. I'll tell you, I do need massage therapy, but you're not going to find me there. Like I said, the first was when I was going to open the hatch and go out. So I'm going to leave the bunker here. The Rabbi Shimon cave. However, my neighbor has elective surgery before that date, and I'm going to, leave a couple days early so I can drive him to his elective surgery and then pick him up. Again, we're back where we were supposed to be about a month and a half ago. What a long, strange trip it's been. There are signs that I had COVID-19. I don't know. It's, as far as my mask not working and being somehow deficient, it's not all of them. It's just a few, I guess. And I think it was just missing the rubber piece, or somebody took it out. I mean, it could still be sabotage, but it was missing the rubber piece and only had the additional filter. There's supposedly some of them have a cloth filter in there along with the rubber piece, which really doesn't serve a purpose unless you want to keep changing that piece, because cloth will, I guess you could wash it. It's not entirely cloth. It's like a nylon cloth, but it's perforated. So that, if that caused me to have COVID-19 and I fought it and I'm great, then I'm great. I really don't, find that I needed, not to have it, because I would then have antibodies, and that would be a good thing. Or theoretically, I would have antibodies and it'd be good. And the big one for me was when I had the stomach mess up. My stomach was like doing all sorts of somersaults. I wouldn't say I had the other symptoms, it was just kind of, a stomach upset is the way I saw it. I thought maybe, but it is not too bad. I'm not having other symptoms at that point. Although I did go through a series of symptoms, so it could have been one of those things that I was getting different parts of it at different times. And one day, all of a sudden, I just started eating. And I'm like, and as soon as I, felt better, I was just famished. I just kept eating. And I said, I wonder, what about the appetite? Does COVID-19 take your appetite away? And then I said, that's the big one of big symptoms. So that actually is something that causes people to not be able to fight it also. If you're not getting your nourishment, then your immunity drops. So if this thing makes you sick to the stomach and you keep, you're not eating, you're not getting vitamins, you're not getting minerals, you're not getting electrolytes, you're not getting your water, whatever it is you're missing out of that equation, that will cause your immunity drop. And then it attacks and boom. So that may be some of what was causing the issue for people. So that doctor that was giving people zinc and then others were giving vitamin C and zinc, that was a good deal to keep that immunity up. And I always take a multivitamin anyway. So people need to make sure that they're taking those. And if you want the special vitamins, I was speaking about a particular company. I didn't want to mention the name while my stuff was in the mail. But it's Dakota Nutrition or something like that. Hang on, let me go. I found them on Amazon, and then I ordered direct from the company. The owner was, having a little trouble with his orders, but I imagine his orders are going out the roof. Because you can't get, I don't know if out the roof is a word, but going crazy because you can't get like airborne gummies, but you can get Dakota Nutrition stuff. And they're on Amazon, and he has his own site. He's got elderberry gummies for immunity. He's got vitamin C and zinc. Well, I'll tell you what happened. And I think I told you before. I ordered the capsules instead of the gummies, and I wanted the gummies. So I said, I sent an email. I said, I messed up. And he said, oh, well, don't worry. Keep the capsules as a free gift. And I'll just send you the gummies. And the gummies, like I said, were $24 for two, or the gummies were $29 for 2 bottles, and the capsules were $24. He didn't charge me the $29. He let me go with the $24, and he gave me the capsules and gave me the gummies. And well, he sent it separate. He's in Arizona, and he's in what's that place? Scottsdale, Arizona. And he sent me the capsules out of, or not the capsules, the gummies, the elderberry gummies out of his, stock, whatever he had in Arizona. But he ships out of San Diego. So he sent them to me, and I said, well, the day after you shipped those or so, the other order came up, and it's been sitting kind of in a holding pattern. It hasn't made it to the post office. I said, okay, I'll take care of that. You're not the only person that had that, which is the right thing to say. But you're not the only, so first, you're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? And he said, you're not the first person that did happen. I'll take care of it. And if you don't receive it in a couple of days, I'll send you stuff right from here, from Arizona. Don't worry about it. And it came, and I have it, and it's quarantine period. But as far as a business owner goes, he does very well. Very down-to-earth person. And, I'm sure he's moving a lot of stock right now. But he has all sorts of immunity-boosting stuff called Dakota Nutrition Incorporated. They're on Amazon, and he has his own site. Top-rated seller. 4.8 out of 5. He's got apple cider vinegar capsules. keto pills with carb supplement, vinegar gummies, even has pet hemp oil for your pets, elderberry gummies. He's got hemp gummies. I'm not big on the hemp. THC detox. He's smoking pot. I didn't see that stuff. All I saw was the nutritional stuff. So don't blame me if he's got like pot smoker stuff. Organic elderberry gummies. They have a lower vitamin C content than the vitamin C and zinc gummies. But, you know, if you go to a site, I think it's cheaper. I don't think it's any different than ordering through Amazon. Vitamin C gummies, immune boost. All right, his vitamin C gummies, 4 grams carbohydrates, 3 grams sugars. Vitamin C, 250 milligrams. Echinacea extract, I guess that's how you say it. I got to look up to see how you say that. 50 milligrams. Zinc, 25 milligrams. So the zinc is higher, definitely. He doesn't go too crazy on the C. He gives you a good dose, but he doesn't give you those 1,000 milligram doses, which is probably fine for sustenance. I mean, when you're in the middle and thick of it, maybe you want the 1,000, but you don't need 1,000 every day. And I'm thinking of taking these every other day, not every day. So, elderberry gummies. There's some other companies that look very similar, so I don't know if he has like 2 companies with different names. Sometimes people do that. But it could be just a supplier that prints the labels very similar, and then they just order from the supplier. It's the same, you know, could be the same thing. But it's got vitamin C, 90 milligrams, B propolis, 50 milligrams, zinc, 7 milligrams. And there's the echinacea, 25 milligrams. So that's pretty good stuff. And he's a good person. He was willing to really push the buttons to get my order out. And he wasn't blaming the post office. A lot of people just blame the post office, and then you call the post office. It's not us. I haven't dropped it off yet. So a lot of people are using the excuse of the post office. I was waiting for a new iPad case. Found a great deal on eBay. And he gave me the, I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm like, you said 4 days. That's why I bought it. And he got it there in like 3 days or 2 days after I said something. But I'm waiting on my phone case. I didn't update my stuff. It was all scratched up and everything. I do a full protection case, and I don't pay a lot of money. What you pay for a little sleeve to put around your phone, I get a full protection case for like $15. I think I paid 13 something shipped for the case on the iPad. I actually found the Defender. I was kind of bummed because after I ordered it, I found the Defender case, the OtterBox Defender for $28.29 shipped, and that's pretty good. Wasn't gonna pay $48 for it. No way, not when I can get this for $14. And then the phone case was a similar price, so maybe $1 more or something. But I'm waiting on that, and they tried to blame it on the post office. And I know if I called the post office say it's not us. We're waiting on the package. So again, I don't know what's going to happen with my phone case, but I still have a phone case. It's good enough, and I use my iPad mostly. I was thinking of getting a Surface Pro, and I would have gotten one if I didn't have to do this move and spend all this money. Because I'd like to use OBS. I went over to OBS today, the OBS Studio, instead of what I'm using here. And I tried to do the video, and the video works real well and smooth. You just got to, do some adjustment. It's not as user-friendly as you would wish it was, but, the adjustments are there, and you make them, and it works out. But you can stop and start videos and, start them over again. On this one, I have to run the video through. There's no way to stop it or start it. I can move away from it and bring up another image and then go back to it, but it's going to start from where it left off, so it's kind of weird. So I need that Windows environment. And I can walk actually over there to my to my computer and use that Windows environment, but God wants me to use this. And I like it too. I mean, it's real nice. I bought a stand that is for an arm. It's kind of like a half-height stand. And then you put the arm on, and then, you know, that's where I took the picture of that microphone hanging. That worked real well. It wasn't too expensive. It was from, I think, that company, Pile. They do some nice stand things. My other stands are from Pile, too. And I'm going to buy a piece to adapt those to make those so I can do the same thing as I do here, which means I'm going to get one of those arms, those boom arms, and I'll be able to drop it down into a sleeve and then tighten it into the sleeve and then use it like I'm using this. And that my other arms are so much more heavy duty. They're Rode arms from the company Rode, Australian company, microphone company, and they tighten up real nice. And I'll be able to use those too. So we'll see. I got to stay focused on something or I'd go crazy like everyone else, right? I know I'm not sorry for what I said to all of you. I know what you're doing. It's very evil what you've done to this country and what you've done to the individual person that you victimized. And I was blinded from actually seeing that my masks were not the right quality. That was probably the one I was using when that incident happened, and I knew that somebody had cursed me to it. They're still cursing me, but there's a little more protection right now, and they don't have as much power. Again, that witches season is slowing down. Remember, COVID-19 is legions of demons. COVID-19 is a demon. And the deep state, the beast, brought it here to kill its victims. But when it comes, they don't control it. There's this guy, Bill Mitchell, online. He's got a show. And I swear he's freaking out because the stock market's messed up and his portfolio's slipping and all that. They won't tell you that, but that's what I think it is. You know, when his mother was alive, she just passed within the last year or so. When his mother was alive, he loved his mother. Always talked about his mother, loved his mother. Now she's gone. She's like, well, you know, I wouldn't have, you know, had it in the way if my mother was alive. I'm like, you're a liar. You'd have been so afraid that your mother would get sick. My brother was with my mother. My brother, you know, it's a big mitzvah there. He actually moved in with my mother. Now he's got the money. He's a millionaire or a multimillionaire, I guess, at this point, or something like that. And he actually has to pay $1,500 a month to live in my mother's. I guess it's like a, you know, it isn't quite assisted living, you know, one of those retirement homes with the condo or whatever that she rents. And he had to pay $1,500 and he can't leave. He has to stay there till they lift the quarantine on, you know, those type of facilities. So he's in there with my mother, but she's got like a 2-bedroom thing. She's got like a den and a bedroom and a living room. So she has some pretty good space, and he does his work from home. But his wife goes and does the shopping and then drops the stuff off for him there, and they bring it up in a cart. But my mother, what she did was, I told her, my brother's like, oh, I think she had a stroke. I think this is before he went in with her. Like, I think she had a stroke. So I call her. I was like, Mom, you okay? Well, I don't know. You know, so she's doing this thing. And I said, look, when I was mad at her because she kept calling the cops on me, and the cops were jerks in Naples PD, because they work for the deep state. They told me a bunch of bogus information. I never had to leave my mother's. It was nuts, and I had residency rights. But I said, okay, I'm going to leave. And, you know, I said, she's crazy. She does this every so often. I mean, so a couple of days later, I left, and I moved to Orlando. But, of course, within a week, as I told the officers, she's going to want me to come back here and take care of her. So I moved to Orlando and was abused by the people there. But before too long, I decided I was going to go to California. I was going to stop at my mother. I didn't want to, you know, totally diss her. I'm going to go stop there for a while, and then I'm going to move on to California. It ruined this relationship that I was trying to get forward. And that's what made her freak out, because I said I was going to go visit someone. and then hopefully bring that person back, and we could both take care of her, and it'd be easier for me. Well, I visited her, and she had this act on. I mean, she was totally gone. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'll stay here for a little while, Mom. I'll be here at least a month. So I ended up staying there till I got sick and left and went to New Mexico. But I told my brother, look, it's not real. She does this when, she's confronted with being stressed out from being alone and things like that. So I think that's what it is. Because she couldn't go out. What would happen is he used to visit. She'd go out shopping. She'd go to her doctor. It wasn't like she's sitting in her apartment. So what happened in Naples is she was sitting in her apartment and she got all freaked out. And I stopped by and she was a completely different person. It was like, was that Sybil? A different personality. So she's putting on this act. I told her, brother, it's an act, but I think maybe you want to go see her. And, she does need help. It's not fake, that part. She's acting out. She's not having a stroke, but she's acting out because of something. So he said, well, I'm going to move. He went to visit her, I think, and I'm going to move in with her. And, that was it. He moved in. He's been there ever since. The thing is, where they live, now Philadelphia, I think, became the hot spot, but that was the hot spot. It's near the Montgomeryville area, and that was Montgomery County was the original hot spot. So it was kind of scary for them, but he's doing a good thing. He's a mitzvah, they call that. And he's taking care of my mother. And there were a couple scary days in there. She had a couple symptoms, but it didn't appear to be it, but it could be. I mean, nobody knows how that thing works. She is a woman, and some of the women didn't even, show symptoms. But so far, in their particular place of residence, nobody's contracted it that they know. And there was a scare. There was somebody that was tested because they had symptoms, and then it came back negative. So, again, there are so many ways to fight COVID-19. We just got to harness that engine. Obviously, it is mutating, and that's a good sign. So the more it mutates, the more it is most likely to find its way downward to a normal bug-type virus, where we experience some symptoms for a short period of time, or completely burn itself out. So the big argument was that, hey, Brazil and Australia have COVID-19, therefore the UV and the warm weather won't do anything. No. Australia had one of the biggest debacles of this thing. That's why they had it. They really don't have that wide of a spread, considering they just let all those people off the ship into their communities unabated. And also they do have a Aboriginal community that does have the ills that we found in some of the other communities that I spoke about. So again, that's only one of the factors, the weather, the climate, that's only one of the factors. But given the other factors that would be risk factors, Australia and Brazil are doing pretty good. I mean, Brazil is laden with ghettos, people living on top of one another. And not even just on top of one another. And they're not, washing their hands. They're not using hand sanitizer, and they have a better contract rate per capita and a better death rate per capita than we do. So most likely the warm weather is doing that for them. And I think we were blessed here with some warmer weather on and off. And now we're going to go up over 80 degrees permanently, or at least for the summer, here in about a few days. And we're definitely, I think tomorrow is 83 or 84. And we're going to hover around 80, maybe down to 78, 79. Now that's the highs of the day, but And that's what it does. It goes up and down, and I think that's more of a confusing factor for the virus itself. When Dr. Bricks kind of said it once, through a lot of climatic changes. I think climatic changes are also a reason that it would probably not sustain its ability to infect someone over a period of time. If it gets hot and cold and sun and dark, I think, it might help it. For me, the specific one I was looking for, I wanted it to be very dry and hot in my apartment at the peak of this thing. So it would dry out anything that it may, wet thing that it may have been attracted to. And then I would hit it with humidity and heat. Then I'd make it humid in here and then hot, and then I'd dry it out again. So I was giving it that double whammy. Because, even Dr. Brick said, and I was doing it before she said it, but she said that the virus doesn't like the humid weather. 1. 2, that it doesn't like, to go through these climatic changes. And then 3, that if it's in a moist location, it being dry will also dry out the droplets or whatever. So again, the double whammy is better than just a single whammy, because if it stays humid, the droplets may stay intact. And then it's easier to live in a droplet than it is dried out somewhere. So there's a lot to it, mutating it, forcing mutations. I mean, that's cutting edge science, and that's probably something we need to pick up the funding on. How can we force mutations on bacteria and viruses in the wild so that they move in the direction that we want them to move? So that's a big one. So again, we have a lot of people not even wearing masks or wearing the masks wrong, and they're not having any trouble. So there's still a reason to believe that it's weakening. And that's a big one. That's what we want. And that's going to really help us, because then it'll be over. Or at least minimized. It'll be like a flu at that point. Again, Brian Kemp might be doing something that he knows is going to work because he's seen something within the data, within his community, that says it will. But then again, maybe not. And then again, if a stronger variety strain of COVID-19 finds its way into a community where it wasn't previously, we might get a sudden surge like they did in Navajo country. And I don't think that's racial at all. Not Native Americans are feeling, maybe there's a reason that that's happening to them based upon discrimination. I don't think so. I've spoken about the Navajo community for years now. And I've struggled to help them over the years, but there are certain social ills that are present in their community, and that's probably what's doing it. They closed down the liquor sales, the alcohol sales, in the travel stops and things like that. And that's a double whammy. First you're drinking, that's going to drop your immunity. Second, you're not going to be cognizant of what you're touching or what you're breathing or who you're breathing with. And then thirdly, you have people traveling, touching everything in there. Truckers, people on the road in their cars. And the air in there is thick, different people breathing and hitting the road and coming in and off the road. So that's where that came from, most likely. It's not everybody, but there is a large segment of their population that will do that and then return to their families and then pass it on to their families. So again, that's a big issue. And hopefully that gets taken care of. And they're attempting to work that out for them. And I think they're treating them, at least trying to give them the rural treatment. They're trying to get them to other hospitals, even though the hospital system there is encumbered. That was one of the locations I was going to move to, Gallup. I was thinking about it. And that was when I gave a ride years ago to a Native American lesbian couple from Arizona, and the family of the one was in New Mexico. And so I gave them a ride up there. And I was wondering about that location. Then it came up again. A Kundalini yoga instructor was opening up shop in that area. I was going to try to build a retreat or something. So we had discussed maybe connecting later, but that didn't come up later as it should have. So I was thinking to move that area, and I'd have been there. But they're more spread apart. So I don't know, short of some risky business, whether you would actually have much of an opportunity to contract COVID-19 in the Gallup area. Because most people are kind of living spread apart. The key was, and I couldn't even get to it, and I knew what the key was, so I know you can't get to it. The key was to be President Trump and have everybody take a COVID-19 test before they talk to you. But really is to buy a bunch of dry goods. In February, you should have got 20 pounds of rice, 20 pounds of beans, 20 pounds of lentils, 20 pounds of everything dry that you could buy, canned this, canned that, frozen this, frozen that, and then just shut up and go home. And that's it. And wait for it to be over. But I ran into a lot of roadblocks. I couldn't even get to my car. To get a car, they kept wheeling me down and cursing me, and nothing would seem to work out. And I'm like, I'm just going to get up there and lock myself inside and not come out. And that was my plan, but I just couldn't get to it. And then I got sick, so there was a good chance that I had it somewhere along the way. It's just I was like, okay, I'm not too bad off, and I really don't care. But this person just said I had a touch of pneumonia. And I can't have a test. Well, I need a test. And the nurse said, no, go over here. And I hear their test. I hear their test and go over here. And I went over there and I got a test and it came back negative, which was fine. And I went through it. And really it was about a week ago when my energy started coming back. I didn't have that, pneumonia kind of stuff going on past, a certain point. And I really didn't even feel the pneumonia. I thought, it was allergies or something. So it wasn't that I was feeling much. And I was laying in the bed, though, because I had injured myself on my bicycle. And even if it was COVID-19, if I hadn't been laying in my bed, I probably wouldn't have got the pneumonia part of it. Because that's how people, when they're, laid up, they end up with pneumonia. And that's what happened to me. So I, realized that one. And then Cuomo got a call from CNN, and the doctor told him to get out of bed. Well, yeah, that's something I figured out after the fact. So I didn't lay in the bed much once I had that. I said, I can't lay in the bed. I got to get out on my own. I figured I got to walk around. This is why I got pneumonia. I'm laying in the bed. And it wasn't like pneumonia. I said, you got to touch, which just means it's starting, if anything. And went through that. And then my stomach was kind of not perfect then, and then my stomach went crazy. But I got the test back when negatives didn't mean negative, and I guess there's still a certain percentage of negatives that are confusing. But I got the test definitely during a time period when the negatives didn't necessarily mean negative. And they even tell you that. You get the test, go, this doesn't mean that you're negative, actually. She said it a certain way, and it made more sense the way she said it. But it essentially meant, I just hit my head off of that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that sound. But essentially, she said something to me, and I'm like, wait, did she just say that it doesn't mean that you're not, it doesn't mean you're negative. It just means today you're negative. Or the day we took the test, you're negative. Because she said you essentially could have it, and then a couple of days later it shows up. Right. So, but I said to myself, regardless of what it is, he said it wasn't it. And I'm feeling a little better a couple of days later. I said, well, I'm not going to get tested unless I need to, because I'm not going to waste the test, So I kind of just, whatever happened, I went to the doctor the one time, let him work it out. We thought maybe it was the thing I was taking, but I'm thinking that was a coincidence. I was taking the liver flush. I think that was a coincidence, but I think God wanted it to be a coincidence so I can get my liver enzymes test done. Instead, it was kind of weird. My doctor does a physical and kind of like disappears and leaves me out there with this hanging over my head that my liver enzymes are messed up. I'm like, oh no, what do I do now? I can't go to a doctor. And I should have called the doctor right away. What happened is I waited. I should have just went and got the test right away because we hadn't had much spread at that point. And that's another point. I was at the clinic getting my physical done and all my tests early on, and there was a guy walking around with a mask. So, I don't know. I could have got it from him. Who knows? So again, I could have picked it up earlier, too. So again, I've had some funky stuff since I got here. And I was a little worried when they said liver enzymes. I said, well, I'm catching some funky stuff. It could be from the liver being messed up. And my liver enzymes turned out to be perfect, and that's not a problem at all. But I talked to my brother, and he said, when I moved to Ireland, and I was a young guy back then, he said, I was sick every weekend just about. I said, what? He's like, what, another bug? What is this? Because, you move into a community, sometimes you don't have the immunity for their specific strains of whatever it is. And then usually get sick for 6 months or a year on and off. And then it goes away. And then you don't get sick for a while until you move to your new community. I do pretty good. I mean, I don't think I really... My problem is I have allergies and doctors tell me I have something else. For years I didn't know that. And then I figured it out. And I don't have a bug. I have allergies. I don't have to go to a doctor because I don't have a fever. There's nothing going on there. So it's probably allergy. So I figured that one out. But I do pretty good. I haven't gotten the flu shot since I was probably about 36 years old. And I have never been told that I had the flu. I was tested many times, but I've never had the flu. So again, my antibodies were doing good as far as fighting whatever that flu was. And it's usually just variations of flus that you've already had, so your body can generally adapt. So I was doing good over the years as far as that. I would just catch the stupid things every once in a while, but I lived in a place where you would catch things because it's just not the cleanest place, and people always touching the same doors and stuff like that. So I actually did pretty well. I wasn't, in New Mexico, I didn't really have too many times that I was sick. A couple times I went to the doctor and they're like, well, I don't know what it is, and this, that, and the other thing. And my liver enzymes may have been high because I was taking the airborne gummies for so long, so I kind of dialed back on those because of that. They can send your enzymes up. So like with these, I'm not taking the max dose. Ugh. Getting tongue-tied there. So again, we're sitting here, and we have to understand that this is a result of evil activity. Now, not everybody getting sick is evil. But for sure, people that are evil are getting sick this time. God's trying to wake them up. The economy will come back when it comes back. Once COVID-19's tamed, it'll take off like you won't even believe. But, they had a headline today, and Breitbart is kind of stepping over the line. it's putting that information out, but it erased all the gains since 2008. Now, that's biblically sound to say that, and it's biblically encouraging that they would say that. Because I told you 2008 happened because why? Because of what you were doing. It's the same thing as 9/11. Why did 9/11 happen? Because you're evil. And you're causing other people to fall, and you're harming people, and you're restricting buying and selling. You're doing everything the Bible tells you not to do, and a certain percentage of you are Christian, or at least claim to be Christian. And many of you are actually in churches donating money. So I donate money. I donate money to the church. I'm big. Well, if you let everybody else have their life, they donate bigger than you. But you won't let them have that life because you don't want them to be that person that does what they're supposed to do based upon what the Bible says we should do. But one thing is sure, when the church goes wrong, the Bible says to come out of her and be not partakers of her sin. And I've been telling you that for decades. Y'all have to understand. Live and let live at a minimum. Live and let live at a minimum. Pretty much what the Bible says. Live and let live. Now, the Old Testament might say a little different, but yet says it. All it needs to say so that one could survive being Jewish. But yet Rabbi Jesus came, and it's no different for a Jewish person as far as what they should see, whether they accept Christ or not, as being some sort of Messiah. They should see him as Rabbi Jesus and understand that he came and gave a bunch of teachings. No different than any of the other rabbis that came, but yet different. Now, I find the Old Testament says enough that I don't have to wait for some pie-in-the-sky Messiah. What does that mean? Because God is enough for me. I know God exists. I know God will do the best God can do to get me home. I know God is not the God of this world. The God of this world is Satan, the beast, the deep state. All those wills in one, opposing God's will. Rabbi Jesus and I had a great time together when we did work together. I mean, we're together in spirit. But there is a time that Jesus and I were very close. But there's times that we have to split apart based upon the wills on this planet, because there would be a loss of salvation if we did not split apart. But we're still together in spirit. The Rabbi Jesus is similar to Rabbi Shimon, similar to Rambam, similar to all the Kabbalah rabbis. Because Jesus is many things. Jesus becomes many things. Again, the Bible says, what? Let's hit that boom again. What does the Bible say? Become all things to all people for the gospel's sake. So for a Jew to understand the work of Rabbi Jesus, he has to see Rabbi Jesus. And then understand that one of the rabbis went to crucifixion as a sacrifice for the people. That's simple. Doesn't require all the rest. Doesn't require them to eat ham on Sunday. Doesn't require them to change at all. The Bible tells us that. The New Testament tells us that. If they have a dietary law that they want to establish, then so be it. That's not the lack of a better term, the meat of it. It's simple. A rabbi came here and was teaching. And God indwelled that rabbi and they killed him. But God used that act of death, that act of murder upon his son Jesus for the salvation of all. Not that difficult. It's very Jewish. But you all made it something different because you're using it for a different purpose than what Jesus had intended it for. There are no Christians, really. They're all Jews. If you ask me, we're all from Zion. And we'll all go back to Zion. I don't know why I want to be a chosen person if you're not a chosen person. I have no idea why I desire to be a special person over you. And why would God want me over you? There's no reason. That's not God. But God will make you feel like you're the only person that God ever needs. You're the only person that God believes in. Because that's God. God has such an in-depth personality, but yet when you get to know God, you want to be more like God. Not to be God, but you want to be what they call Christ-like. Because you want to make people feel like that. You want others to feel like they're the only person that can succeed, to inspire them to greater things. But then again, what do you want in the end? You want them to be Christ-like. The problem is the church wants to see Christ-like in its own image. The church wants to see Christ-like in its own image, which shortens the whole project of what that actually means. But what it does for them is allow them to excuse their own sins. Sin is not a dirty word. It's a very common word, a very common activity. There are none that seek after God. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Jesus said he was not good. There's only one that's good, and that's God. That tells him he knows. That tells me Jesus knows God. Do you know that? Rabbi, Jesus knows God because he said, you know what? I'm not good. God alone is good. So for a long time, I would just call him the rabbi. Because that's who he is on earth. He's the rabbi. And if you grew up in a Jewish neighborhood in Philadelphia in the 70s, you would meet people that would help you understand one day when you learn about Jesus who the rabbi was. Now for me, the Jesus character in the temple was a reverend, a cantor. But he wasn't assigned a real position anywhere. He was a man that had a son, a retired man. And he would take 3 fatherless children from their single mother who worked during the week at a synagogue on Friday and Saturday. Several different ones, not the same one. And in his own way, he would overturn the tables in the marketplace at the temples that we would visit. And they saw him coming, and they saw us coming, and they knew something was up. Now, I was asleep, and I couldn't tell you the first thing about what I'm telling you now. Before I was 40 years old, I couldn't tell you the first thing of what I'm telling you now. Kind of a Moses event in my life at 40 years old. Actually 39, but 40 years from conception. That's what made it even more special. And God is like that. God is amazing. So again, the rabbi. If you see Jesus as a rabbi and you understand what Rabbi Jesus Emmanuel Christ ben David ben Elohim Ben David, Ben Elohim, son of God, was doing on earth, and see him in the context of a Kabbalistic rabbi, then you would begin to understand. And the problem is, we have to wait all those centuries for the poem, the Kabbalistic poem, to come out, the Tree of Life. To understand it a little bit more. So there are so many different aspects of the work of Jesus. So many different things that he did, and so many intricacies that expand, that have been crushed, that you really can't get there without understanding what it is to be Jewish, and what it is to be a rabbi, and what it is to be a rebel rabbi. Now, the other rabbis, in their own way, were maybe a little bit rebel, but they could not match Reverend Fleischman. Reverend Fleischman was a rebel. And I'll tell you, there is nobody else on the planet that took us to the synagogue more than Reverend Fleischman. If he had not, I may not be standing here today. There were people within those communities that blessed us, I'm sure. So again, remember, it's cursing versus healing. Once the healing exceeds the curses and the evil will and the ill will and the evil imagination, then things start righting and going right. Not just for you, for everyone. You have to remember that. You're always looking in the context of your own lives and how well you're doing. The Bible has a lot to say about that, yet you call yourselves Christians. And, I don't deny your right to do that. You can call yourself an elephant if you want. But of course, you're not an elephant. But to know God is to realize something about the tree of life and the work of Rabbi Jesus. Everything is smooth and equal. Jesus doesn't desire to be what God made him become. But that's why God made him become it. Jesus didn't want to be anybody but a healer. He wanted to heal and love people. The rest is what God did with his life to bring salvation to one and all, to bring Judaism to one and all. But it has been shifted over the years, and that's okay, because you're on. There's a part of this that is all changeable because God is real time. And Jesus said, I'll leave and I'll go with my Father. The Bible has sons of God in it. That's the one part. Now, Jesus did manifest different than the rest. But there are sons of God in the Bible. Son of man, son of God. Honorific terms. Am I telling you Jesus isn't different? No, of course Jesus is different. I believe in a kind of a mystical way, Jesus is the sun of our universe. He is the root of power for this universe. But he shares that position with God. Because Jesus knows what? I go to my Father. That's where my power is. And I'll be with my Father, and I'll be more powerful, and I'll do things for you. So again, there's a lot in there that's considered taboo today in the church. And really isn't spoken about if you would just take it in the context of Judaism, unless you go to the real Judaism. Now, you don't have to be a Hasidic Jew, but the Hasidic Jews have a ton of information. The rabbis have a ton of information. Throughout time and space, they have come and attempted to liberate the people. But always remember, why do I want to be a rabbi if you're not one? It doesn't make any sense. I should not desire something for myself of an elevation that I don't desire for you. I started off explaining this to all of you 15 years ago. And you killed me for it. But I'm still alive by the grace of God. Remember to praise God in all that you do. Praise God.
You are listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.